What's up, everybody? Welcome to another week here at Podcaster Wellness Alliance, the live stream. It's quite interesting what we're doing with everything. This week, I just want to be clear on what we're talking about. This week, we are going to be talking about. Oh my God, I forgot what we were going to talk about. Jeez. Oh, yes, how to streamline your post-production, because this part is probably the second most time consuming task that you're going to be doing on a weekly basis to maintain your podcast, to be throwing out episodes. Now, I just want to be clear on something. This is specifically for podcasters or people who are interested in podcasting. It could be people who have a live stream and thinking about doing a podcast. When you're doing live stream, there's pre-preparation that you do. When you do a podcast, there's pre-preparation, preparation, and there's pre-production, production, and post-production and promotion, the 4 Ps. Interesting. I may come up with something for that. How to quickly do the 4 Ps. 4 Ps of podcasting. That's a good idea, John. I'm going to write that down. Hold on a second. Let me write that down. Make 4 Ps of podcasting. Okay. Cool. I got that down. So expect something to come out for free that I'm going to give you guys to help you streamline this process. Now, we won't focus so much on the pre-production or the production. Today, what I want to focus on is the post-production. How do you make it so that you're not spending 150% of the time? And what I mean by 150% of the time, or 50% of your time, is if your episode is an hour long, for example, you're going to be spending an hour and a half to 2 hours editing. When I first started podcasting, that's what I was doing. I would take an hour and a half episode, because my episodes were 90 minutes, and I would be spending 3 hours plus editing, because I would be doing a lot of listen, cut, re-listen, make sure that the episode is, and as I'm re-listening, I put ads in everywhere. Then I would create the intro, and then I would create the outro. So I would be wasting a lot of time. Now, fast forward 4 years. We're in season 4 right now. Fast forward to season 4. 1 hour episode takes me 1 hour to edit. 1 hour. I am bang on. As well, okay, let's say an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm at 10% right now. Efficiency. My goal is to get it to 5% or less. Now, there is going to be like little bits and pieces where you're going to be cutting everything. And the biggest question I get is, how the heck did I do it? Well, remember last week when I was talking about your SOP, your standard operating procedures? This is how I did it. And I follow my system. I have time frames. I have time slots. I have cuts. I have this. I have that. I take my entire episode. I only listen to it once. And right at the very end of the episode, when I'm recording, I do my intro and I do my outro. And now I'm thinking about getting rid of my outro, because let's call a spade here, folks. Most people don't listen to the episode from beginning to end. And if they do, I mean, that's awesome. But 80% of the time, 70% of the time, they don't. So if you can take your CTA and you can put it at the very beginning and see how that plays, that's what I'm playing with right now. That's what you can You can cut down your editing time even further. And this only can happen if you have a standard operating procedure. Now, if you don't have a standard operating procedure or an SOP, what's going to end up happening is you're going to be listening to your episode 4 or 5 times, doing cuts, doing edits, doing ads, doing this, doing that, doing intros, doing outros. Quite frankly, that's a waste of time. Very, very, very important time that you could be spending doing other things like self-care, which is critically important in this industry. Because if you don't do any self-care, you're going to burn out. I'll be honest with you. There has been so many times where I've burnt out, and people who have been following me for a while know they've been paying attention. They're like, "Oh, John is not publishing any more episodes. What's going on? Is the Fitness Oracle um, still going on?" And guess what's going to end up happening? They're going to drop off, and rightly so. Rightly so. But if you're prepared, if you do self-care, if you have a standard operating procedure, and you follow that procedure, then you'll be able to maintain a longer lasting podcast with a fan base that will be there to support you when whatever when you need them, when you don't need them, when you think you might need them, when you think you might not need them but you actually need them, because you always need you always need the your listenership. You're always making them happy. You're always putting out very important content for them to consume, and they think of you as a leader. So make sure that you do have a standard operating procedure and you are following your system. It's super, super critical that you follow the system on a daily basis, which leads us to the next point, which is theming out your days. We talked about this last week, and I want to dig into it a little bit more deeper, because this is probably the most effective task that you can do on your downtime. You think about all the stuff that you have to do for your podcast, right? So you think about all the stuff that you have to do for a podcast. You have to find guests. You have to invite guests. You have to do research on new technology, because you have to keep up with the Joneses in this industry. You really do. You have to be ahead of the Joneses. You have to become the Joneses. People have to follow you. You have to edit the podcast. You have to copyright. You have to do copyright. You have to do scheduling. You have, and by scheduling, I mean scheduling the podcast out, your blog posts out, your social media out. You have to do it. Social media, the promotion of the podcast is probably the most important. If people don't know what you do, or that you have something, they're not going to listen. So, and then you have to do, well, I like to do, you don't have to do discovery calls, but discovery calls are, it's good practice. I like to do it because it has you have a tendency to vet people to see who's a good fit. And it gives that good connection between host and guest, so that when you do get on the show, you have a valid friendship, I like to call it. Okay. Might be not a long, old friendship, but at least it's something. It's something which is better than nothing. So doing one of those 6 tasks every single day, I will tell you from experience, you are going to burn out. 100% you're going to burn out. So theming out your days is probably the most effective time management tasks that you can do. What do I mean by theming out your days? So I'll give you an example of what I do, give you a little bit of insiders of what I do and how I got to 300 episodes. Well, I just get, we're editing our 300th episode right now. Sundays, all I do is recording. I record my episodes with my guests and I make it clear to them I only record on Sundays. Between 9 and 5, I do my recordings. Mondays, I find new guests. I do my discovery on Mondays, which is today. Tuesdays, I do my R&D. I spend my entire day researching new technologies, or I take the technology that I already have and I do a deep dive into that technology to see how can I utilize this to save me time. Wednesdays, I do editing. The entire day, all I'm doing is editing episodes. Thursdays, I'm doing copywriting. Fridays, I'm doing scheduling. And Saturdays is specifically for discovery calls. So I have all my entire week themed out. So when I come to Wednesday, which is in a couple of days, and I'm doing my editing, I have only editing to worry about. I open up Adobe Pro and I get in there and I start editing my episodes. Why? Because that's the theme of the day. And how do you theme out how do you focus on doing it? Well, I only listen to it once. I go back to my SOP. I open up my SOP and I'm saying, these are the time slots that I see the ads come in. These are the time slots that all the notifications, like subscribe to the channel, follow, whatever. I have all that timed out throughout the episode. So it comes up, is up for 10 to 30 seconds, and then it goes away. And then the next one, and then the next one. So I don't have to worry about any thinking about this or that. The only thing that I have to do is a little bit of math. And there's great sources online that you can utilize that will save you even more time to convert numbers into time slots. Some really great tools out there. And all you have to do is listen to it once. Cut whatever you need to cut, and then you save it. You save the file as final so that when scheduling comes up, you can take that file and you can schedule it on, I schedule it on Friday. I'm just giving you an example. So that's one of the main things that I do. It has saved me. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you for the like. That has saved me so much time and has given me a life outside of podcasting, because that is super, super, super critical. So many times that you just go into this deep, dark, black hole, and you blink and you're like, holy Jesus, where did the time go? It's 11 o'clock at night, time to go to bed. This gives you that kind of freedom. So remember, have your days themed out. When you get to your editing day, when you get to your editing day, pull up your SOP, pull up that standard operating procedure, and just follow the steps. Now, we talked about this last week as well, outsourcing. When you get your podcast to a certain level, and the podcast is making some money, it's making a little bit of money, and you have the opportunity to outsource your editing. A lot of people do this, and I don't blame them, because it does take a lot of time. I could take this huge task, the second largest task that I have, and I can outsource it, and it frees up my day, which allows me to do more R&D, to better my systems, to better my podcast, to better my products, to whatever that case may be. Now you have a themed day where you can say to your editors on Wednesdays, I want you to edit and I want you to follow this standard operating procedure, which will save you time to better my audio, to better my video, to make more connections with my guests, and see if they have anything that they want to advertise on your episode. So there's this rabbit hole can go so deep when you have the first two foundational um, stages in place. It's game changing. It can become game changing. So that will lead us into another topic that I want to talk about is automation. Automation is probably AI. We talked about AI last week, and I like to talk about AI because AI is one of the biggest time savers that you can actually use. I know it's a lot of people are yes and no about it, but I'll be honest with you, it's such a huge time saver. I mean, when you can push out four uh, four blog posts, 2 emails, 12 Facebook posts, no, 13 Facebook posts, 13 Facebook posts, LinkedIn articles, and Instagram posts in a matter of 40 minutes, you're talking next level. You're literally talking next level. And you can train AI to speak in your voice so that you don't have to worry about the copyright. You don't have to worry about legal issues. Like, whose content is this? This is my content. And we talked about this last week, so I won't get into it too much this week. But what I do want to say is that with AI, there is a tool out there that you can use, that I use. It's called Video, VIDYO.ai. You can take your podcast, and instead of doing clips, where you need to create clips for social media campaigns and stuff like that, what you can do, so instead of doing it in Adobe, which you can do in your first edit, but it does add a little bit extra time, you can take your entire episode and drop it into video, and it will create posts, reels, posts, everything for you. Why not? It just saved you an extra 40 minutes, an hour of your day. What can you do with an extra 40 minutes to an hour for extra on your day? I know what I can do. I can go to the gym. I can go out for a walk. I can spend time with a family. I can spend time on me. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are not fans of AI, and they're resistant to it. But my suggestion is just try it and see what it can do for you. And like I said last week, we don't have to worry about Skynet coming in and taking over the world, or robots taking over humanity. We are not there yet. Do I see us getting there? I do see it, just not yet. I mean, machine learning is next level at this point, where it's interesting and it's scary at the same time. So that's it. Thank you all for watching. If you guys are interested to see this in action, and you guys have stayed to the very end, it would be my honor for you guys to come join us at Mighty Networks, or join the Podcasters Wellness Alliance, where we integrate health and wellness to your podcasting, live streaming, and content creation career, because it really is a career. So have come join us. It is a free month. You get access to blog posts, early access to episodes for the Fitness Oracle, um, blog posts, live training. We are working on creating some new live streams, or I don't want to say live streams, some new trainings with past guests to help the community with their health and wellness tips and give them tips and tricks. So there's a lot that we're doing with the Podcasters Wellness Alliance, and we would love for all of you to be a part of it and take your podcast and make it a life that you always wanted and the life that you deserved. The life that you deserve, not deserved. That's past tense. Deserve. You deserve it right now. So just sign up. The links will be in the show notes below. In the notes below. I keep saying show notes, and there's no show notes during a live stream. Honestly, sometimes I shock myself with the stuff that comes out of my mouth. It's just one of those. Anyways, I will see you guys next week, where we talk about, what do we talk about next week? We talk about something really cool. Let's do this. Oh, content creation, and how content creation is going to help build relationships with your guests. Something that I fail on. Hint, hint. This is probably a tough one. It's a tough one to maintain, and you'll see why it's so tough next week when we talk about it. And if you guys have any questions about anything, please feel free. DM me, message me, get a hold of me, send me smoke signals, yell at me, scream at me. Do something. If you guys have any questions, just ask. I'm here to help. Until next week, you guys be awesome.